Hi there. I'm so excited for this conversation today about how to have a sourced holiday season. Now, what does that mean? What does it mean to have a sourced holiday season? It means that you go through your holidays with a knowing that everything that's coming through, that's showing up in your world, is divinely perfect. Now, that might seem nearly impossible. You're thinking, like, all right, Darla, I know my family and it is not going to be divinely perfect, right? Add on top of it a global pandemic, and surely this isn't going to be sourced, right? So, I want to share with you three ways of being this holiday season to create a sourced experience for yourself. So, the first one is to be that everything is sourced. That's step one. Be that everything is sourced. So, I want you just to right now imagine what you have planned for the holidays. Maybe you're thinking about holidays past and who you've been and who your mom has been and who your cousin has been and who your kids have been, and you're imagining that the holidays are pretty much going to go the way they already have, or they always have, right? Maybe on the other hand, you're having to get creative and innovate because you're not going to be with people in person the way that you normally would. And so you're creating something new. And I'm guessing if you're someone who's watching this video, you're probably that person in your family who's maybe a little bit different, who thinks more creatively, more expansively, and you might have lots of ideas about how to take this current situation and make the most of it. Yet maybe your family isn't going to be so down with this, global Zoom call or creating a new tradition or having more intimacy, and you have this sense of this, right? But you'd like to create something. So wherever you are, kind of doing the normal things or creating something new, how could you bring a knowing that every single thing that unfolds is sourced? In other words, if your mom can't figure out how to get on her Zoom and she's just really in resistance to that, maybe that happened for me when we had a Mother's Day call this year. How can you just hold that with love and an energy of an embrace of like, okay, so this is showing up just so perfectly. What is this mirroring to me? What am I to take away from the way this is unfolding? If you do gather and you find yourself feeling like a 6-year-old or a 12-year-old again, right? What information is that bringing to you? In what way is this divinely sourced? What is this telling you about yourself that you've still been available to be like a 6-year-old or like a 12-year-old? Not with judgment, not with trying to change it or fix it or think it shouldn't be that way, but simply knowing, okay, this is sourced. Perhaps a conflict arises. In what way is that person that you feel upset with giving you beautiful information for your soul's journey? A friend of mine always says, they have to show up exactly like that for me to get what it is I need to get. Like, if that were true, how could you bring love and compassion to all of the people in your life for exactly how they're showing up, even if you don't agree with it, even if you would prefer they would be different? That's how to hold this concept that everything is sourced. So that's number one, be that everything is sourced. Okay? Number two, be energetically intentional. Be energetically intentional. Well, what the heck does that mean? It means, how can you take some time prior to the holidays to say, what do I want to experience? What do I want to feel energetically as I move through the holidays? So when we're thinking of energy or energetically, think of a way of being. Like, what is the way of being that you want to get to be in relation to the other people in your world over the holidays? So, for example, you could go through the holiday unconscious, unintentional, just kind of as you always have, and you play the role you've always played. And maybe that means, hey, with my friends or in my community, in my business, I'm so expressed and I'm really powerful and I speak truth. And with my family, I just hold it, keep it all to myself because it just doesn't seem like it fits there, right? That would be like a default way of going through this. How could you create not necessarily what you want to happen, okay? Because when we try to create exactly what we want to happen, we're bound to be disappointed, right? Because people may not want to go exactly the way you want to go. But if you can create an energetic intention, this is who I want to be. This is how I want to show up. I want to be joyful. I want to be playful. I want to be loving. By the way, it doesn't even need to sound positive. It might be, I want to practice boundaries. I want to be boundaried. I want to be elusive or mysterious, right? If you've always been the one to show up and do everything, maybe that is a victory for you. Maybe that's an intention that would be fun to play with. But when you bring that energetic intention, now you're not attached to things going exactly how you have planned. You're more committed to showing up in this energy and just see what unfolds. It's really, really powerful. Okay, the third thing is be willing to release your default energy. Be willing to release your default. And this, it really fits with everything we've shared so far. But if your default is, I go into being a 12-year-old, like we mentioned, and that's who you always are, or you're always the helper, or you're always the funny one, or you're always the smart one, or whatever it may be, to create a holiday that's sourced energy is alive. It is in the present moment. We feel it, we know it, we want more of it. It feels good, it feels expansive. To be in that place where things are just flowing for you, we can't be that old version of ourselves that we've always shown up as because we kind of go to sleep, right? And everybody around us just has expectations and they're not fully present. So be willing to release that default. To release that default, like right now, you could just tune in and say, who am I typically at the holidays? Who am I for my family? How do I typically show up? And now ask yourself, if I weren't just willing to let that go, what energy feels alive right now? What energy feels alive right now? For me personally, I just felt a shift from kind of being like the energizer one to being kind of a little more mischievous. That was the word that, or the kind of the energy that came through. So now if you can feel into what would it be to let that go, the energy that arises in that space is likely sourced, right? So you can bring that to step 2, being energetically intentional. How could you be that? How could you be that? And I'm just feeling like so lit up inside at the thought of that, of being a little mischievous. So what's yours? What energy would you want to bring with some intentionality to the holiday season? And what would you have to let go to be that? And then remember to hold it all as play, because everything that happens is a sourced experience. And so if for some reason you bring this new energy and someone doesn't like it, it's just like, get curious. Oh, isn't that interesting? If you're resonating with this, it feels good to you, and you know that it's easier said than done. Yeah, like if we were live, I'd be like, how many of you know this is easier said than done? And you want support, either navigating your holidays or in general, navigating this new world and putting yourself out there in this truly authentic, sourced way and receiving what comes, message my team, let us know. And there's a link below. All right. Have an amazing, amazing holiday. This is Darla Ledoux of Sourced signing off. Mwah.